Hello, my name is Replico, and today we are going to talk about the same thing that we were talking like probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. So, we are still talking about GTA Trilogy Remastered, Definitive Edition. It is out. Now we've got a full game, we've got a full version of the remasters that we needed to get, and so the results are bad. It's just what I was saying. I really was waiting for that. I really was waiting that everything was going to be bad, and so it is bad. Because I've got the excellent and the best explanation of how the game actually looks. So, all those 3 games look just like a really bad mobile GTA clone. Because they really do. They really do look like a really bad GTA clone for the mobile phones, and so it probably makes this impression, and I don't really know why. So, we've got a lot of things that we need to talk about because the game is now absolutely different, all 3 of them. I've got some different feedback from the people that were saying some, well, interesting stuff. The video somehow became just really, let's just say, interesting in the way that some people really agreed with me and some people really disagreed with me. And so the problem, the biggest one, was that some of the people actually said that, it's completely fine. It's completely fine in the graphics, it's completely fine with the gameplay because, it's a remaster, it's not a remake. The fact that this is a remaster doesn't mean that you need to get a pile of shit that doesn't even look like a good game. It means that I really do like the graphics that we had like in the beginning of the 2000s because they looked really good, because we've got Vice City, because we've got San Andreas, which even now has a real, let's just say, cult even in our years. And we've also got the third one, the one which made the real revolution, the one which was absolutely, let's just say, groundbreaking, because the third one is the one that you need to talk about especially because somehow people just don't remember it that well. And the thing that they did to the games, how they massacred my boys, is just, let's just say, really, really bad. So, let's just begin with some of the things that we need to talk about. The problem with the price. Okay, the price is not that big, especially if we divide it into 3, because yeah, you actually get 3 different games, but they still look like shit. They still look really bad. And still, they have actually deleted all the Trilogy games that were in Steam before. They've actually deleted them. They deleted the original Trilogy. And so what do we do now? This is like the biggest problem that I'm having now, because they still repeated the same problem that Blizzard did with Warcraft 3, because they have also deleted the original game, and they were like, yeah, you know what, you are not playing the original now you are playing Reforged. I'm very glad that I've actually bought the original Trilogy like in the summer, right before everything has started, and so just some of the things that we need to talk about that are now absolutely clear. The gameplay looks really bad, and it really does. Somehow it turned out that Unreal Engine is not as good as Rage is, especially for the GTA series. Well, I'm really interested in why it is so. So, let's just begin with some different technical problems that we now have. Some of the cheat codes were deleted from the game. If you know just all the things about GTA, you probably remember the classic times, the original times, where you printed out just the list of the cheat codes and you were playing the game and you were like, yeah, I need to do that, I need to do this. The GTA is not about things that people think it is about. GTA is all about fun. It is a game series which is absolutely filled up with fun, especially with cheat codes. Cheat codes in the game are not made for like purposes of cheating. They are literally made for making the game more interesting, like making everyone crazy. Everyone is doing a great massacre on the streets like this. This is the thing that people did with the cheat codes, and somehow a part of cheat codes was actually deleted. We are not getting, let's just say, a full amount of fun that we had during the beginning of the 2000s. So somehow it is so. In San Andreas, some people also said that we don't have flying cars anymore. How can we be without flying cars? Flying cars are literally one of the funniest things that you can do in GTA San Andreas, that you can do in Vice City, that you can do in any other games of the GTA franchise. How is it so? How could you delete that one? How is it so? It's obnoxious. You cannot do that. It's not fun. How can you get any fun if you don't have cars flying? The game has already been cracked, just like it happened to all the other GTAs, but, well, it's okay. So, it has already been cracked, especially for Nintendo Switch, and in Microsoft, well, let's just say that the mark for the game is not that big. It's literally 3 and 8 at the moment. At the moment when I'm talking about it, it's literally 3 and 8. And also, one of the things that I'm actually, well, kind of unsupportive about are that they have decided to delete some of the songs from the radios. We know some really interesting stuff about Vice City, because in the Vice City community there was a really big discussion about the fact that you have to pirate the game or you buy the Steam version, like the one which is not available anymore. So, the thing was all about the soundtrack. Some of the people actually considered the Steam version to be like a really bad one, because it didn't have a full original soundtrack. Just to tell you a little bit of the information about all the situation. The thing was that actually the game has got an update, and the update deleted some of the content. Michael Jackson's tracks were deleted, and the game didn't have them anymore. Right after some time, the game was actually fixed. They've got some different problems with licensing of the music, and so they have actually restored the licensing and initially fixed the soundtrack, and so we've got a full one. At least thanks for that. But now, they have intentionally deleted the soundtracks from Michael Jackson and Ozzy Osbourne. Just a very simple question. How can you play GTA Vice City, which is intended to show you the whole aesthetically pleasing element of the 80s, and actually play them all without Michael Jackson and Ozzy Osbourne? Like, it's the 80s. It has to be full of Michael Jackson and Ozzy Osbourne. They have to be everywhere. Like, it's the 80s. It's the 80s, they have to be like that. And the problem that I had with the graphical element of the game. So, I did not actually say that during the previous video, but I need to tell it all now. Because, let's just say all about the aesthetics of the each part of GTA from the original trilogy. GTA 3 is actually a very gloomy one. It has to be gloomy. It doesn't have to be gleaming, it doesn't have to be beaming, it has to be a really gloomy one. It's always raining, it's always, let's just say, sad, because it is a criminal world of the beginning of the 2000s. It has to be like that. It literally starts in a very bad weather, where it's night, where it's raining. I remember it being this way for the first time I was playing, and so it was so. It always has to be gloomy. It is a game which is full of that, let's just say, dark atmosphere. And now, in the game that we've got, in the remastered version of the third part, it's not like that. It is not like that anymore. I don't know why. I really just don't know why it is so. Some of the faces of the characters, some of the hands of the characters. People, how can you be absolutely fine with the fact that they really do look like plastic or plasticine or rubber? I will show you some of the images. You probably are looking at them right now. Look at that. Look at that. Look at them carefully. Understand that this is the thing that you buy for your money, and tell me, even that to tell me that it's worth its money. It's worth it. Is it really worth it? Tell me. Right now. Vice City. Vice City has to be all about the dawn. It has to be all about the dusk, the all sunny atmosphere. A complete, let's just say, the complete opposite of the third part, because Vice City is always sunny, it's always in a good weather, it's always sunny, it's always warm, it's always hot, because it's a complete 80s aesthetics. It has to be this way because, you know, it's actually the 80s in the game, so it has to be like that. And San Andreas is very, like, I think that in fact San Andreas would probably be the one which would be really hard to remaster, especially in the means of the atmosphere, because San Andreas is really, let's just say, various in its own atmosphere, because sometimes it's gloomy, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's just absolutely burning hot, but the game itself combines all of these atmospheres just completely fine. It doesn't have any problems with that. And if you do remember, it really is always different. It always makes you feel different. It is a really, let's just say, good game in this meaning of the atmosphere. You look at the game and you feel like, yeah, it really looks like a real place in the meaning of the atmosphere. What do we know GTA for? GTA is a game franchise which is full of moments that are, let's just say, weird, which are giving the people a challenge, that are not that simple, with a lot of different jokes that are, let's just say, not, well, very soft. Those are not soft jokes, those are the jokes that will hit you pretty hard sometimes, but it's GTA, it has to be this way. It's a provocative game, it's a provocative franchise, which was always considered the one which is like a really provocative one. And so they have deleted some provocative elements. What do we know Phil Cassidy for? GTA Vice City, Phil Cassidy, the redneck who absolutely loves to shoot things, to drink booze and explode stuff. It's a guy you always know who absolutely loves mayhem, who absolutely loves to make massacre, who loves to shoot. And so it is this kind of guy. And he had a very interesting element of his. He had a t-shirt with a Confederate flag. And so Rockstar has decided that, you know, we don't want to be that provocative anymore. We don't want to have any problem with people with a very soft nature of theirs. We do not want to have any problems with them. Let us just delete a Confederate flag and make it as good as it can be in the means of being provocative. Let it just be not provocative anymore. Vice City. In Vice City, there was an absolutely funny and absolutely crazy mission where you were with Lovefist, a glam metal band known in Vice City. And the problem is that right at the moment you get to the place where Lovefist have to be, there is a transgender maniac who literally talks like that all the time, who's being like, a Lovefist has ruined my life. And so he is this kind of guy. He is an absolutely obnoxious and absolutely crazy kind of guy. Lovefist has ruined his life, and he's always being like that. He's being like, yeah, a Lovefist has ruined my life, and so I'm going to ruin them. And like this kind of guy, absolutely giant guy, wearing a skirt, like it's the most funniest character. It's the moment that makes you burst with laughter, because imagine this particular thing. You are going to the concert and there is Jesus, and like there is this giant guy, an absolutely giant guy, wearing pink and talking this voice and being like, yes, I'm going to take my own revenge on Lovefist. And so like that's the thing that you get, and it turns out that some of the people say that, yeah, you will not get this mission anymore. Well, yeah, you know, because people who are just like that character are going to be offended by this character. Well, I'm really interested in like why it is so. And so this is it. The game has already, as it turns out, been cracked for PC. And now again, I'm just going to show you some of the different pictures that we've got. They look absolutely obnoxious. I do not know how you can look at them, look at this whole bullshit and be like, yeah, the game is absolutely and completely fine. I'm just going to show you some different images. Probably I'm going to tell you nothing about them. There is nothing to be commented, because this looks like a really bad mobile clone of GTA, because it really looks this way. It looks plastic, it looks like a rubber. It doesn't have to be like that. It looks like shit. I do not know why is it so. I don't only have problems with the fact that the game looks like plastic or rubber. The main reason why I'm having the problems with all of that is that they did not keep the original atmosphere. You're not seeing the gloomy GTA 3, you're not looking at the sunny GTA Vice City, you're not looking at all the different GTA San Andreas. You are looking at the complete bullshit that is trying to be realistic, when it doesn't have to be realistic, because this is a GTA. GTA is always hyperbolized, it's always hyperbolized, and it has to be this way, because you know, this is a GTA, this is a completely provocative game that has to be funny and hyperbolized, because it is so. It's a very funny game, but now it is not. You don't get any fun now, because you know, having fun is a criminal thing to do nowadays. You don't have to have any fun. And so this is it. Thank you for your attention. Have a good day, have a good time. Goodbye, have a nice day, have a nice time. Talk about your own impressions about the game, because the comments that I've got before were actually interesting, because some of the people really got the point. They've really got the point about some of the stuff, and yeah, actually, thank you. Thank you for your own points. It's really interesting to just read your comments, because some of the people make a good point. That's all I got to say. So, this is it. Thank you, have a nice day, goodbye.